um, the movie's right here. I just got this yesterday in the mail. I've been waiting also in the mail for Frankenstein Conquers the World. I've been waiting for that to get in the mail. I don't know why, for some reason, it just came to me of like all of a sudden I just want to buy some ToHo stuff, other kaiju stuff from ToHo. Maybe because I've always never tried them out or never saw them. I just saw mostly their Godzilla stuff. So I go to Godzilla, and I love Godzilla to death. I love that character, and I love the meaning behind him, Godzilla. Except for what the one from. Well, yeah, yeah, no, no, yeah. I was gonna say that yeah, I like actually every iteration of Godzilla, like the design of it. I like every design of Godzilla. Yeah, the Marvel one, the Hanna Barbera one, the TriStar one. It's just I like all of them. I love all of them, and I'm a huge Godzilla fan, man. My favorite Godzilla design will always be the Heisei one. Always, always, always. If I had to pick a second one, it will be GMK. The third one, I would have choose the original. I would have for the third one, but when it comes to the third one, I should go with the Godzilla 2000 one. To be quite honest with you, because when I was a kid, Godzilla 2000 were showing on like how you have like on demand back in the day, and then it just shows like some movies you can they'll show you some parts of movies and you'll be like, oh my god, this is a movie, and then you actually have to buy it. If you're that old, you know what I'm talking about. Back then, when you had to buy things in on demand and shit like that, they like showed you a preview of the movie that you were excited for, basically, or you were just scrolling down and you're like, holy shit, this movie's here, and then you click it, but they're not going to show you the whole movie. They just show you a little bit of it because they want you to buy it, you know. So I thought that was dope. To be honest, when I first saw that, and they kind of showed it on a part where Godzilla was fighting this the main uh one of the main kaiju's in the movie. I forgot his name right now. Um, fuck, I forgot the kaiju's name, man. I like Godzilla 2000, but I forgot the kaiju's name right now. I don't know why. There's so many other Godzilla fights kaiju names that are in my head right now that it's just like but it probably come to me eventually. But keep thinking of Hedra or Gamera, and that's not it. Gamera and Godzilla never even fought. All right, sorry. There we go. So I recently got this. I made this cover right here. I had to do this cover twice mainly because the first one was nice, but I wanted to emphasize more with the cover. So this is the cover that I made for the movie, and this is what it really looks like. This is what the cover really supposed to look like. So, and then if you take that sticker off, that sticker shows my original cover that I had here. So, as you can see, the other heads are like silhouettes in the background of one head, basically. So, then the disc is just plain. I just wrote on it red. But how do I feel about Orochi, the eight-headed dragon? I won't spoil too much, but this was promoted as a video game, basically, as a live action video game. So, and to be quite honest, it is. It's a video game. This is a video game movie. It is. I There's a lot of video game movies out there that some people might say are not good, or movies that are about video games that are good, like Starfighter or Tron. Well, the last Starfighter. But what else? I could think of other things. But there's other movies that is all like, instead of talking about video games, they all like video game ish, like Scott Pilgrim versus the World, which is great. Another one is Ready Player One, which is good too. But they do different things, and this one does it too. This one does it very differently. This one is basically, I like to think as this movie as like Final Fantasy meets Dragon Quest meets Godzilla. People like to say that it's basically Godzilla meets um Clash of the Titans, which, to be quite honest, when you say that to people, you're suspecting this huge epic battle of gods and shit like that. Don't say that. Don't say that. Don't tell people that. I mean, those battles with gods happening here, yes, but when you tell people that, you make it act like there's more than one kaiju fight here. There isn't. There's other monsters in this movie, you know, and you can consider them kaiju esque because the characters are small, anyways, you know. But except for one character that's just a monster, that's just really tall, big, bulky, and everything like that. The designs in this movie are great. The special effects are great. The characters, in my opinion, are not that bad. Or not really that bad. Some people look. I've seen reviews of this movie. People hate on this movie. I don't get it. I don't. I really don't fucking get it. I don't. And the thing is, too, Toho, I believe, this is a remake, by the way. Toho made an original one in 1958 or 59, I believe. I think it's called The Lost Treasure or some shit like that. But I even heard that one was bad. And it's 3 hours long, that movie. But I did heard that like the dragon fight between the main character and Orochi is really good. So in the and then you do get that in this movie too. And to be quite honest, it's pretty dope. To be honest, I did not suspect literally a fucking little mini-sized person jumping on top of a titan dragon with fucking a whole bunch of heads. Imagine a little tiny person this big jumping on a hydra and fucking stabbing him with his fucking sword. That's the type of shit that happens in this movie. That shit's dope. That shit is dope. It is. It really is dope. Now, if you're not into the characters or the story in this movie, you probably won't like this movie all that much. But I got into it. I did. I got into it. Plus, it was being promoted as a video game movie. Now, I know a lot of people might say, why is that an excuse to have a mediocre story? I'm not saying that. But the but you know how video games are, right? Video games are just supposed to be fun at the end of the day. The story is supposed to be second. Story could be false, that's fine. And if you always tell me, I will always tell you story first, okay? Always. Always. Because if you don't have a story, then you don't have a structure. War, you don't know what you're doing. You don't even have a gameplay. Between making a movie and making a video game, yes. But at the same time, also, there's a difference between when you're making a award on a movie and when you're making a award on a video game. Okay? So when you're making a award that is a movie that's based in like itself like a video game ish, it has to cut a few things. It doesn't have to. To be honest, I feel like what they had going, I was into it. But the problem with the movie, in my opinion, with this movie, in my opinion, it's just that it wasn't confident enough to stay with certain things that should have stood. Like, for example, the main character should have stayed more in his homeland a little bit more before he went off to his journey. It was just like, all right, who grew up, doom, boom, doom, gone, left. And I'm like, at least last there for a little bit. This movie's, you could have cut a few things. There were a few things you could have cut from this movie, to be honest. You know, the only thing it wasn't. It's not like a lot of things you can cut out. I'll say maybe the first half of the beginning part you could have cut that a little bit. Like fast forward to the part that what happens to the main character as a baby. That's really it. Just for the people that haven't watched the movie, and then people say that the main character is overpowered in this game. I mean, in this game. Look at that. In this movie. From what I saw, apparently wasn't paying attention. He kept getting his ass whooped. And every time he touched the crystal or touched the little rock thing, he defeated it. Every time he fought, he got fucked up until he touched the rock. Except for that one fight, which was great. I liked it that. I liked that the movie literally showed that he had a journey. Didn't tell you that. I like that. I did. I like that. I did. Most people are like, "What are you talking about?" They didn't. They literally did told you it. I'm like, no, they didn't. They told you in a way like, yeah, he's going on this journey and that will be his destiny, yes, but they didn't tell you what he was going to be going through that journey. All he knows was that he was going to fight Orochi eventually, but he didn't know he was going to fight one of, another dude and then take his last name, basically. That was pretty dope, even though he was trying to kill him and kill his woman. Well, love interest actually. It's not really his woman. I do like that the characters don't really get together. I really like that because you would think that the characters just got together. Maybe they did after the movie. After the end credits and shit like that. Obviously, that would make sense. But I really didn't seem like the main characters were like. I mean, they were love interests, yes, but I didn't feel like the characters were like, oh, it felt like the beginning of a love interest. I mean, originally it was going to be 3 movies. So this right here, them being like, okay, and maybe I'm into you, then that's a good start, for a first movie. Then the second one will be like, oh my god, maybe they actually all going to get together. Well, they won't, they basically. Then the third one will be like, yeah, they're together. Or they'll be like dragging that on until the end of the movie, which you shouldn't. Just make them together and then make them together in the whole movie. Because to be honest, when you do that type of stuff, that's basically the second movie, but a third 2.0 version of it. I don't know. I hate when movies do that. When they repeat what they did with the second one, I'm like, so it's basically the second one, but the second version of it, 2.0. Why? Why? Do something different. Do something new. Now, some movies that have done that have done perfectly well. I can't think of any movie right now, but I remember I know I've seen stuff like that, and they've done great in my opinion. They've done great in my opinion. So, anyways, I don't think the characters are not that bad. This is my first time watching the movie, so I will watch it more again, get more feel of the characters and the world and everything like that. But other than that, for what I saw from what I watched in this movie, I don't get the hate for this movie. Does it get a 9 out of 10? No. Does it get a 7 out of 10 or 7.8 out of 10? Yes. In my opinion, it does. Does it get an 8 out of 10? I won't. Sorry, guys, with the connection. This movie was still fun, to be quite honest. Still a blast to watch. And it's very underrated. Very underrated. For crying out loud, you have a freaking robot ninja dude fighting a 8-headed dragon, cutting his heads with a sword, and a fucking beam, freaking mirror on his fucking third eye, first eye, actually. And people want to hate on this movie? When it comes to the spiritual enlightenment stuff, this movie got it. And me and my friend have always said this before. This is not a spiritual enlightenment stuff, but me and my friend have always said this before. Anytime a movie tries to make you think and always tries to show you something that's spiritual, what happened in ancient times, people outright hate it. They hate it. Either you fucking know it or you just fucking hate it. There's not in between. Either you do know or you don't know, motherfucker. And the reason I get pissed off at that is because those movies out here that are trying to tell you something. But yet, you have movies out here that are trying to be artsy and everything like that, and you guys eat that shit up. But when it comes with a movie, when it wants to tell you something, automatically you want to feel offended about it. You'd be like, oh, stop telling me how I am, movie. Oh, movie, making me feel like I'm a dumbass. Maybe because you are a dumbass. Have you thought of that? Have you ever thought that maybe someone made you think harder and then your brain was just like, then you got pissed off because someone made you think more? Maybe it's because you actually are a dumbass. Seriously. Seriously. I don't want to get on a tangent with that, but still. Come on, man. Seriously. But the love interest in this movie, to be quite honest, she's not bad. She's a badass in this movie. She's not a damsel in distress. And the main character's 2 buddies that he hangs out with. Holy shit! I'm telling you, how come there's not a video game tie-in for this movie? I swear there probably is. There probably is, and I don't even know it. If there's a video game tie-in for this movie, let me know. Let me know. let me know. Let me know. And if there was an Orochi eight-headed dragon video game out there, then yeah, most likely it would still be like this anyways, because it's still talking about the same story, just different. Hell, even the original what Toho made in the 50s, that one was different from this one. Very different actually. This one, the items that they use in the movie, you know how you know how sometimes you use items in a video game and then you bring them in and everything like that for the final battle, like Dragon Quest. Oh, if you're a Dragon Quest fan, you know I love that shit. That's one of the reasons why I put in the back Final Fantasy meets Dragon Quest meets Godzilla, or I could have just put Dragon Quest meets Godzilla. But this movie has a lot of things with Final Fantasy that reminds me of Final Fantasy. Like the world reminds me of Final Fantasy. The battle and the magic reminds me of Dragon Quest, and then the kaiju fights and everything like that is Godzilla. That's the best thing possible thing I could tell you. It is. That's the best possible way I could I can explain that. There is sprinkle of Dragon Quest World ish there. You can see it. You can see it, especially with where the main character is lives at. To be quite honest, so um, and yes, if you ever seen Clash of the Titans, it kind of starts off that way. It does. It is. So, and also in a spiritual enlightenment way, mostly the Japanese stuff and China stuff. Well, and I'll say mostly Japan. I gotta look at China, but most of the Japan stuff are literally things that are from Samaria and Egypt and all that shit, because the Asian people took it from that, and then that's how you get that dragon from, because the dragon is from over there. But it was all over the world, anyways. So you gotta. That's how you know your history. You gotta know your history of how they got these symbols from. All right, not what they told you, but why you found out by literally looking at how history is. To be honest, and some things that you find out in history, some things will just make sense overall because how people react, how their how some people's agendas is and shit like that. Which in a way you do get in this movie too. To be quite honest with you, the villain in this movie, I'm not saying he's the best villain, but he's there. Like Goldbez in Final Fantasy IV, he is there, and he makes sure that the hero knows it. And you know what? I like that shit. I do. I like that shit. And to be honest, it sounds like the actors were having fun anyways. It was. It sounds like they were having fun. Were there cheesy moments? Yeah, they were. And then going to Orochu's castle automatically, and Orochu's like, "Who are you?" And then the main characters just introduce themselves. I'm more like, "Oh, this is it. This is it right here. This is it." We're not gonna go. We're not gonna see them look at the entrance and get like a freaking frame of the two heroes looking at the freaking castle, while like something artistic and beautiful. Then them going up and then fighting some monsters or some demons or something like that in the castle before they reach Orochi, and Orochi doesn't know that they're coming or some shit like that. Then it's like, come on. But what do you think I talked about with the whole thing? If when you get a movie that's like a video game, there are certain things that had to be cut, and that is the major thing that had to be cut. To be quite honest, if in my opinion, there's certain things you could have added in the movie that made it better. But if you added that specifically in the movie, the heroes traveling to the castle before they reach Orochi, if you did that, I guarantee you, most people will like this movie the way it more than how they are right now. Guarantee you, guarantee you, because people just need a little bit more something, a little bit more substance before they be like, okay, I do like it, because that's how people are. You got to know how people are. You got to know how people think. You got to know how. You just got to know how people are sometimes. I'm not a people person. I'll say that right now. But it doesn't take a rocket science to tell people's emotions, to see how their eyes are, to see how their emotions are, to see how they lips react, or how the eyes or nose kind of twitches and stuff like that, how their eyebrows and shit like that, man. Like if you guys never study that shit just by a person's perspective, like just Look at people around you sometimes, and you just look at their faces like that. Just observe. If you don't do that, I'm not saying you're stupid or anything like that. It's just that it's very important. It is. It is. Especially if you really want to know if this motherfucker's lying straight up to your face or not. Just saying. So this there's a oh man, the kaiju fight. The, obviously I made it in the cover of this movie, but the three other fights are not that bad either. I think the second one could be better, but the second one is not that bad either. This is a hero's journey movie, by the way. This is, and I've been noticing before. I just been noticing this a lot lately. To be quite honest with you, the only thing that people care about as the hero's journey is only Star Wars, and that's it. Because anything else, everyone hates it. Now, I'm not saying there's not other movies or video games that does the hero story and people like it, because they are. But when it's just it's just certain movies that you don't get why it's hated. Have you ever know that? Have you noticed that certain movies that you don't get why it's hated, and then when you watch it, you be like, "What's wrong with you, fucking idiots?" Am I saying it's the best or anything like that? Am I saying it's gonna win an Emmy or anything like that? But if they got a sequel, I guarantee you it'll be fucking better. But none of you guys didn't give a fuck about it. None of you guys didn't give a chance. This is not like a Child's Play reboot scenario, basically. When not when none of these people don't know what the character is, basically. You know, something that I need to point out because I just something also I've been noticing. Other YouTubers have been noticing this too. That there's two things that are going around, which have been going around for a long time, but people are noticing more merely because it's more potent now. There are some YouTubers out here and some other media outlets on YouTube that are trying to push out the bullshit and keep the good stuff that makes us happy, up to the sidelines and people don't buy it, and then it makes no money. Then companies look at that and be like, oh, people don't want it. Then we get shit. You see how that is? All right. Uh, let's see. Sorry about that, guys. I had to like do a couple of stuff. Uh, so, anyways, if this was on my Facebook, it would have been there for a while. Then I would have been fine with it. But this is on YouTube, but it doesn't matter. This movie, this movie is a must buy, in my opinion. It is. It's worthy of a watch. To be quite honest with you, if you're a Godzilla fan, if you love kaiju monster fights, then you will probably like this movie. You know, and this movie obviously it's not gonna like I said, it's not gonna win game of the year, basically movie of the year, basically. I mean, I said game of the year because it is basically kind of like a game, but it's not going to win any awards. But what it is going to do is that it's going to have a good time of what it's doing because it knows what it is. It knows what it is. It does. It knows what it is. And I know some people in Japan don't like this movie either, or they thought that the special effects was great and everything else was fine, but the characters were lackluster or something like that. I don't know what they were. I don't know what you guys were like. What do you want? What do you want? What do you want? Like guys. I look. I understand. For kind of loud, even the first Godzilla movie has good character moments, but the first Godzilla movie doesn't have great characters either. It has good characters, but not phenomenal characters like Avatar: The Last Airbender. You know, like and look, I know some people are always going to be like, well, are you trying to say that these kaiju movies really don't have good characters and all that shit? Well, sometimes yes and sometimes no. But we are here when we watch these kaiju movies like Godzilla and stuff like that. We're there mostly because we want to watch Godzilla, obviously. But this movie is different. This movie has characters that turn into kaiju anyways. But this is about a character that is a human basically fighting deities like gods and stuff like that. Again, like obviously like Attack on Titan. You know, um, well, I say Attack on Titan is better. Um, I mean, which Attack on Titan, the original or the remake? Because I like both of them. To be quite honest, I do. And this one is kind of like, I would probably put this in the middle between the remake and the original Attack on Titans, in my opinion, because this one fits perfectly fine, and this fits right. This fits right in from GMK, because if you watch Godzilla, Mothra, and King Ghidorah, giant monsters are on attack. What a mouthful that is. But once you see that movie, they mention that King Ghidorah is basically Orochi, but he's not fully grown and everything like that. And this movie came out in '94, and that movie came out in 2001. So, and also that also pays homage. I mean, pays reference in a wink. Well, not a wink, but basically tells you about the TriStar version of Godzilla 2, saying that there was a Godzilla one in New York. Yeah, that's what they thought, but the experts deny that basically. I mean, they deny that it was a Godzilla basically. Um, so basically, TriStar in this, the TriStar Godzilla movie and this are basically canon to Godzilla GMK. That is if you want to as a Godzilla fan. I mean, you don't have to. I know there's always going to be fans out there that be like, no, it's not. How dare you try to make it? It's you. It's your time for your fan. For you as a fan. You do it. We do that with horror movies. So how come we can't do that with kaiju movies or superhero movies? Because it's too much? Come on, man. What's the point of having fun? What's the point of having fun with with this stuff? At that point, it's not funny. You're taking it way too serious. Like seriously, way too serious. Because at the end of the day, these are all just special effects movies. At the end of the day, just trying to put things in movies that either want to tell you something, or if you don't care what they have to say, either you ignore it and think it's shit, or you have fun with it and walk away and be ignorant. That's it. That's it. There's not in between. It's either those three or nothing. That's how all movies are. All the movies. You can only pick three interpretations from it. Seriously. Seriously. When you really think about it. It'll be your own interpretation, yes, but it'll be still in alignment of which interpretation it is of what the three that I point out. You thinking, okay, open the box type way, or okay, it was good, not thinking anything else, or think it was just shit. But I had a good time with this movie. Like I said, I'm not trying to beat a dead horse here. But yeah, I had a good time with it. I did. It's so anime, and when you do watch this movie, man, there's a lot of anime movies. Like you watch this movie and you be like, I feel like there's a lot of Hollywood executives or Hollywood directors that actually like this movie and don't say shit. I feel that way because when I watch this movie, there's a lot of references to movies that haven't came out when this movie came out, and came out this movie. But I know there's references in this movie that literally other movies pay that pay. Okay, Big Trouble in Little China, and what's the other one? Fuck, I forgot what's the other one. It like, oh wait, Big Trouble in Little China came out in the '80s. Look at that. So there was that, but there was one movie that came out way before that. But still, this movie reminds me. If you sure, I'll say that right now. If you watch the movie Big Trouble in Little China, how about this? Instead of me saying Final Fantasy meets Dragon Quest meets Godzilla, how about this? Big Trouble in Little China meets Godzilla. There, I said it. I said it. I said it. Big Trouble in Little Godzilla with like Clash on Titans. That's the best analogy, huh? You know, I might have to change the back here. Have you noticed I put a moon here? Yeah, there's a moon in this movie, and no, they don't fight on it. Orochi just is there. Oh, by the way, remember the whole thing? Remember? Okay, remember when I said about Orochi being Kinodora and stuff like that? And I know some people might be like, "Oh, it's not canon and all that stuff." Toho didn't say anything, but again, going back as a fan, you could do that. Just have fun with it. Plus, at the end of this movie, they literally say, um, what they literally said, Orochi would be a good person, and Kinodora was a good person in GMK, and they even say that he was Orochi, just not complete. Just he only had three heads. You see, you see. So anyway, it's funny when you look at some of these old Toho movies. Either they did it on purpose or not, either coincidentally or not coincidentally. Even I believe it's not coincidentally, but you can literally make a trilogy. You can literally make trilogies from this stuff. It could be Orochi, Godzilla 1998, and GMK. Literally, I am planning to do a kaiju marathon. I want to do a live stream and just watch some kaiju movies. Put some headphones on, sit back, relax, probably smoke a blunt, probably, and just chill. Seriously, just chill, watch some kaiju movies and shit like that. If you have the movies, you can watch along on them and give you my opinions on them and everything like that. So one of them was going to be Orochi, and the other one was going to be what was it? What was it? Frankenstein versus Baragon. It was going to be that one. I haven't got that one in the mail yet, so I still am waiting on that. So if I once I do get that in the mail, I will probably do that announcement of me doing that marathon. So what else? The other movie I was going to do with that marathon was GMK, because I've been wanting to watch that movie for a while. Mainly because have you ever noticed that GMK is in a way kind of like a remake of Godzilla 1998? It just keeps doing that. But since they can't, but since they couldn't shit like that, the fuck, and it has a copy of it. But then I was like, nah, I'm not watching now. Who cares? I'm going to do a marathon of like 3 kaiju movies. Um, so whenever I do them, and I also want to do a marathon of like 3 and How the Duck. So I wanted to do that. I'll see you guys later. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and be safe. And tell me if you guys have watched this. And if you look at other videos about it too, like with videos about people actually liking the movie, like not the people talking shit about it, because who cares what those people think? To be quite honest, um, I mean, you don't have to like the movie. That's fine. But I don't know. When I hear other people's opinions about this movie, I'm just roll my eyes. I do. I'll roll my eyes. Seriously.